Oh boy, oh boy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Legacy Brew Pub. First thing first, I have a new logo. I don't know if you saw it, but if you like it, if you think it's cool, let me know. It's a little dude serving up some brews, cold brew and a brewski. Very, very proud of that. Also, very proud of a member of the Reanimator community now, Kannister, who top aided and won a weekend challenge with this heretical deck. It is quite spicy. All right. So, in case you are unaware, he went into this weekend challenge understanding that most of the decks that he would play against would be blue-red Delver. And I caught the end of his stream, and in it, he said, I've played against mostly blue-red Delver. So he made this Reanimator to prey on blue-red Delver. So a lot of people are wondering if this is like the new hotness for Reanimator, and I don't want to sway your opinion too much, but I do think it is a meta call. I think it's a meta deck. I'm going to play a league running it straight in. And if I play against blue-red Delver, I think it's going to be a buy or near buy. You know, obviously, if I don't suck and die, I'm interested in seeing how it does against other matches. I'll quickly run through what makes it a little bit different. I do go into a little bit more depth in my State of the Reanimator video, so be sure to check that out. Also, shout outs to me. I got 100 subs, so thank you, community. Word up. I'm pretty proud of that. Anyway, let's quickly run through it. Most of the stuff here on the left, pretty samey. Except we have 3 Badlands and 1 Scrubland, and the rest are fetches. So this is different in that it's black-red with only white in the sideboard. Thoughtseize effects, we have 4 Thoughtseize, 4 Unmask, and 1 Grief. So we have a total of 9 Thoughtseize effects. Creature package. Fuck it, we're doing 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 Archon of Cruelties. 4 Gristlebrand. 1 Chancellor of the Annex. 9 total fat monsters. A lot of people have been remarking that Chancellor of the Annex isn't good. I'm team Chancellor still until my opinion. I'm open to being wrong. I think that a lot of people reanimate a Chancellor on turn 1 and then they have no backup plan and they lose and they say Chancellor sucks, and it's true. In that case, it does suck. Chancellor's always been a way to increase your win on game 1. It's needed. Typically, you have to have 2 Chancellor of the Annex in play, and you're guaranteed to win. 1 Chancellor of the Annex doesn't cut it, but 2 will guarantee a win. So we're pivoting away from that, and we're going straight to Archon of Cruelty. It does increase our black card account, which is good for Unmask too. So that's cool. I guess in total, in the main board, we have 5 non-black cards, not counting our Lotus Petal for mana sources here. So that's pretty interesting. I'm totally interested in seeing how this will run. I haven't played it before. This will be my first time. I'll quickly go over the sideboard. We got 4 Serenity for total set it and forget it. Originally put in because people would play Landline of the Void, and then they'll go Chalice on 1, shutting out a lot of decks like that. But Serenity gets around all that. Now it seems to be kind of a catch-all. 3 Chancellor of the Annex to match the 1 in the main board. This is more than likely for like a combo heavy matchup. Speaking of combo, I'll go ahead and touch on the Coffin Purge Fairy Macabre. That's going to be primarily for Oops All spells, which is kind of running through the meta right now. So we got that. Prismatic Ending is something that the Reanimator community has been on the fence about since it got printed, about whether or not it's worth being played. It's good at catching 1 CMC and 2 CMC spells that are troublesome for us. So, you know, maybe Rest in Peace, maybe Containment Priest, and then all your artifacts, your Graph Diggers, your Soul Guide, your Relic of Progenitus, your Tormod's Crypts, all those, it gobbles those up. 1 Iona Shield of Maria. This isn't played a lot these days, just because there aren't a lot of monocolor decks running around. Mostly, like, we got Painter, which is pretty much a free win already. We got Blue, Karn, Echo, Urza kind of decks. We have Affinity, which is back in the meta a little bit now. Not too many monocolored decks running around, and not too many Sword Splasher decks other than, you know, Death and Taxes, but there aren't many fair decks that are running. Fayette Loam is a thing, and they are running Forge Swords, so there are some cases where I might bring this in. We'll have to see. And then Sarah's Emissary, super great fat monster printed that has been in Reanimator since the day it was printed. But yeah, this is Kannister's challenge winning deck. I'm interested to see how it does in a diverse meta. Right now, Blue Red Delver is like 25% of the recorded 5-0s on MTG Goldfish. That doesn't necessarily mean that like 1 in 4 decks is Blue Red Delver, but in the online meta, it is pretty diverse. But it wouldn't be unsurprising if we went in and we just faced like 3 Delver matchups. So we'll see how it goes. I'm interested in seeing myself. I don't know how it's going to go. If you like this kind of content, you know, this is primarily what I do is Reanimator stuff. I also have a lot of new kind of stuff I'm going to branch out in, see how that plays out. But yeah, sit back, relax, and here comes some soothing Reanimator content. I'll be back for round 1. Welcome to round 1. And I'm kind of nervous. I hope I play this well. So I'm going to try and talk things out a little bit so everybody gets like an accurate representation of this deck. So if I mess up, sorry preemptively. But I have a banger here. I have the full combo, Dark Rit and Tomb, Animate Dead. I also have Petal Thoughtseize, so I'm going to keep this. We're on the draw. We'll see how it goes. All right, kind of an unfortunate setup here. We're playing against Blue Red Delver, which, you know, hey, we just talked about. We'll see how favored we are. I don't have a land, so that's going to be kind of hard. They just went Ragavan Go. Ooh, Grief. All right, let me think this through a little bit. Grief is just as effective as Thoughtseize. I can pitch and Entomb. I could still have my Thoughtseize, so I got a lot of options here. I'm going to run out my Petals to play around Days. I'm going to Grief, pitching Entomb, and then we have Thoughtseize backed up. All right, we got a Force Pitching Expressive Iteration. So now do I Thoughtseize or do I Animate Dead? I wonder what they're hiding. Probably another Force of Will, right? Or maybe 2 forces. I don't know. I'm going to Thoughtseize because they daze it. I might just combo off. I don't know yet. A Stoneforge and a Ponder and a Wasteland. All right, so they got nothing. That's good. This is white, so I might take... This is blue Stoneblade. So I might take the Ponder because they can get a Swords or something. I don't have to worry about Stoneforge for a little bit. They can't cast it yet. I think I'm just going to go for the Gristle Dad here. I sure do like drawing 14 cards. And I still get my land drop. We're low on Petals, though. Oh, look, I had a nice little fancy land there. So we can Faithless Loot here and grab our Archon of Cruelty. We got this wrapped up. All right, well, good showing here. Round 1, Jesus. Moving on to the sideboard for Stoneblade. So I think I'm going to go in like this. It looks like Stoneblade plays a 4 of Leyline of the Void. So I'm going to bring in all 4 Serenities. I'm going to take out the 1 Chancellor, 2 Thoughtseizes because they're going to be more proactive if they are running that Leyline of the Void. I didn't want to take out any more discard effects because they still are going to run like Containment Priest, probably an Arrest in Peace. So took out 1 Exhume. I'm going to try it like this. I could be wrong, but that's what seems correct to me. All right, our opponent begins the game with 7 cards in hand. We're going to go ahead and mulligan that. This is good. I can keep this. We are super dead to a Leyline of the Void, which is unfortunate. I keep that. Might pitch. I don't hate Dark Writ. I'm gonna pitch a. I think Exhume is probably good if I grab an Entomb. If I somehow draw an Entomb. Looks like we're not dead to the Leyline of the Void, so that's good. The plan now is disruption, disruption, disruption. All right, Island Ponder go. All right, that's a good draw. I'm gonna go ahead and play out Badlands. We're running into Wasteland here. Cast Grief, evoking this. Play around Daze. Let's see what 7 cards they kept. So they have Wasteland. That's not good. They have a Force, Ponder, Brainstorm. So they got some banger here. Gonna go ahead and Faithless. If they Force and then Waste, we're not looking good. They let us get away with it. I think I gotta pitch the Dark Writ here. Entomb's real good. Okay, so here's the thing. This is tough. I get the next turn and I Dark Writ. If I Dark Writ, Exhume, and they for some reason draw like a surgical effect or whatever, I'm really gonna want Entomb. That's gonna be real good because then I'll be able to get around it. They still got Force though, so maybe I'll just pitch this Dark Writ for now. I'll take my Wasteland beats and I'm still kind of wound up here for the combo. Yep, got to take my Wasteland Medicine here. They chose to shuffle off that Ponder. Drawing a second reanimation spell is really good. We can now run into that Force of Will, and they'll be in a better position to counter it. All right, they must have kept or found the Stoneforge here. I probably would have brainstormed to develop more. I don't know. All right, we'll do this. We'll Force pitching the Brainstorm. Got Force pitch Brainstorm. All right, so now they have 3 cards in hand. We are set up next turn. We either are getting this Gristlebrand or we're going to Entomb and get an Archon of Cruelty, I think. All right. They swing in with Cauldron Compliot. And let's see what we draw. An Unmask. I'm not going to cast that. Hopefully they... Well, so I can Unmask pitching Entomb. What does that play around? That plays around Daze, Force, not Surgical. I think that's good. All right. So swords, Force. Okay. Swords are fine. Fine with swords. Take 1 swords or take the Force. This is close. This is tight magic. This is fun. So I'm going to draw 7. I will go down to 8. Swords. I'm going to take the 1 swords to give me the... If I get a second creature, I'll be happy. Unfortunately, Serenity does not work on... Serenity does not work on Cauldron Compliot because it's indestructible. This says destroy. I could go down to 1. That's an option. And if I get it in Entomb, I can get Archon of Cruelty again. Well, I would need an Entomb and a reanimation effect. I don't have many left. My exile is an Entomb and a Gristlebrand, so I have 1, 2, 3 of 11. I have 8 remaining. This is a good game. I really like this. I think I'll pass. It's just exiles, so exile that creature whenever it deals combat damage. So I would still gain 7 life. Could Faithless Looting right now. That helps me see 2 cards, and then I could maybe get rid of the swords if I go 2 more deep. This is so hard. I told my opponent that thinking hurts my brain, and they were like, don't worry, have fun. What a nice guy. All right, so going down to 1, tough. Go down to 1, back up to 8. Go down to 1. I don't see how they could get rid of my creature without it. They could Caracas. I would just die. Caracas is on top. So what do they have? Like 1 or 2 Caracas? That's a tough one. All right, so I think what advances me most is Faithless Looting here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I can... Yep. I can reanimate this Archon of Cruelty. No, I can't do that because I would just die. Dying is bad. And reanimate Grief. There we go. Like that. So they have a force. Now, Grief can get in the way of this Phyrexian Germ token. I would take 3 and go down to 1. Right, this is tight. This is my opponent's really nice, and this is a good game. Really cool showing. All right, so let me just make sure. Yep, 3 down to 1. I think I can block. Yep, bye-bye Grief. Oh, wait, Grief is in my graveyard. Why is that? I'm going to lead on an Archon of Cruelty just to see what they can do with that. And then if we had a second Archon of Cruelty in the graveyard, that'd be really nice. Get Grief. They have just a sword. Let's see. So they're going to come in for 5. All right. They just have Force of Will in the hand. I think we navigated that pretty well, all told. Yeah, navigated that well against a really good deck. I think we're slightly favored, generally speaking, in this matchup. I think we navigated it pretty well in that 1 turn. So far, not bad. We'll be back for round 2. All right, we are back for round 2. We have a banger again. Banger of a hand. Badlands is a little troublesome, but I mean, we have Reanimating Tomb. We're keeping this. I think I'm gonna just send Grief in right away. Pitching Gristlebrand. We have two Entomb effects. They are F6. So this is a mono red. Storm, Reckless Impulse, exile the top 2. This is a Brew if I've ever seen one. Bergie say, whenever you cast a spell, add a red. Until end of turn, you don't lose mana. Creatures you control boast twice during each of your turns rather than one. Well, since I don't know this deck at all. Promox seems good because they probably want mana. Lotus Petal, okay, they have a land. Burning Wish, should I take that? I mean, that gets mana or something. I don't know. I guess it's between Chromox and Burning Wish, right? Bergie's great, but they're a little far away from that. Can you take Burning Wish? I think Burning Wish. Let's go land and see what they do. I took Burning Wish because they could just, like, if they drew some sort of mana spell or mana source, they're set up pretty good. If they would only need like 1 Rite of Flame to start cooking. Whereas I'm going to get in with, I think, Gristlebrand. Get a Gristlebrand and just start taking apart their hand. Pitch Bergie with the Horn. Shatterskull. Impulse. Exile top 2. Next instep. Echo's pretty good. I'm gonna get this Gristlebrand first. I'm just gonna start dismantling. And this one of Chancellor is actually gonna be useful. I could have gotten Chancellor over. I could have got Chancellor over this Archon of Cruelty. I don't think that would have been bad. Jesus. All right, we just ran a train on this dude. Ooh, God, it feels good. I can even go down to 1 and just start taking them apart, but I would be dead to a grape shot, kind of, I think. That was pretty brutal. I'm gonna lie, I feel bad about that. I guess we're gonna see what that one of Iona is for in the sideboard. Turn 2. Bristlebrand, Archon, Chancellor of the Annex. All right, so going into this, we're on the draw for game 2. I would presume, since they're a monocolored deck, that they're either going to have some sort of Fairy Macabre or Surgical Extraction. They may also have Leyline of the Void. So I'm going to bring in Serenity specifically for Leyline of the Void. It's not too bad against their artifact mana, but that's a very tertiary reason for bringing it in. Iona naming red presumably ends the game. I'm going down Thoughtseize effects because they're just going to be turning through their hand, and this one of Grief, I don't foresee that being too useful, and the one of Chancellor I'm taking out. So we're still going to be really proactive in terms of our combo only. We're not going to be leaning into disruption. We're just going to be reactive with our sideboard pieces and proactive with our combo. All right, this is not a banger. We're going to go ahead and mull. This is a banger. Keep. And we will get rid of, I think, our Exhume, just in case they somehow get a Burgie into the graveyard. Serenity out. They kept 7, so there is a possibility that they have like a surgical effect in hand. I'll try my best to play around it. All right, so they just threw up their hand. They Galvanic, and I am interested to see what they get off this Galvanic. Looks like there is a small possibility that they have 1 card in hand, and it could be, you know, that's nice. It could be their, you know, whatever card, their surgical or whatever. I don't think they have it. We can't get Iona naming red because they have Echoing Truth next turn. We can get Gristlebrand and draw 14. It looks like they did not keep a surgical hand. I'm going to go ahead and activate Gristlebrand twice and see what we get. We do get an Iona. Iona can name red now. We can unmask targeting ourselves. We can Dark Writ, Entomb, Exhume. I think we have an Entomb. We do not. We have several unmasks. Let's see what they kept. Let's get a little nosy. Should we? Should we? Yeah. It's probably a land, now that I think about it. Get rid of this Exhume. Burning Wish. Okay, so they're going to wish. You may play a card you own from outside of the game. Well, I want Iona name red now. Mass targeting myself, removing Reanimate. That. And then next turn we'll do a Serenity. Suppose I could Serenity now, but that's a delay, so I don't think that that's how it works. I don't think that's how it works out for us, I should say. I don't think I'm going to pass here. I think we did it. We're playing into their Echoing Truth, but if they spend their whole turn, so they Echoing Truth, they'll have 1/2 mana. They could still gamble. They could still Lion's Eye Diamond into Wish, but they can't cast a thing. Yep. And we just get it back next turn. And this looks like that's what they're doing. God, they have to get like Echo Vions here. Reload and hopefully get there. Gamble for Reckless Impulse. Echo of Eons yet, so they got that. Now they're freshly loaded up. I'm willing to concede that I may have messed that up. I don't think there was much I could do. Like, even if I had played out Serenity, then they would still be able to do all of this. I'll go ahead and play some. I wish I could play some elevator music. I don't know how to edit that in too well yet. Still learning. Are they going to grape shot me? What's the storm count? 7. Yep, they got grape shot. All right, cool. What they got there. Don't know how I could have played that better. Let me take a second and think. If I put Iona on blue, they just do everything in red. And if I put Iona on red, they waste their Echoing Truth for blue on that. That makes sense. So I don't think I could have done anything differently there. I'm on the play and we didn't see a Leyline of the Void, so I think I'm going to take out my Serenities. And then do I bring in like a Fairy Macabre for that Echo of Eons? I never get priority to use it, so I don't think so. Like if they do the Lion's Eye Diamond whole priority cast Echo, I wouldn't get the priority to cast it, so I don't think I do that. There's Emissary named Sorcery looks good. Against your Grape Shot. So maybe I'll bring in, I'll do that. We'll do 2 Serenities just in case they pivot here. Oh God. All right. So I wanted to play a league where I tested this deck out and I played 5 games and 4 of them had just bangers for opening hands. If they do mulligan to like Leyline of the Void, we're in a tough spot, but I can try and manipulate them to cast Echo of Eons with my unmasks. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I can also just unmask target myself, Iona on red, go. I mean, that's not bad either. But yeah, that loses to a lot. Unmasking them and comboing seems pretty good. Also, I just like comboing, you know? I like the setup, I like the payoff. Hard for me to win after I combo though, because I usually so used to people just conceding when Gristlebrand hits play. I don't always know how to follow up with it. All right, no Leyline of the Void, that's good. Looks like they're F6'd. Sorry in advance, my good sir. What do we got? Chromox for a land, LED, Gamble, Reckless Impulse, Rite of Flame, Burning Wish. All right, this is a banger of a hand, and I don't know. Once again, I don't know how to play against this deck very well. I think I'm going to take LED because that reloads them. They could just go like Chromox, Gamble for Echo of Eons, LED, crack it, and then cast it. So I think that LED is my best one currently. Going down to 5 is a little sketch, but I have faith in myself. And we just get there. Sorry, GG's. I don't mean to be rude, but sometimes when you draw, you know, I don't know. I'm at 37 cards in deck and my opponent hasn't taken a draw step yet. I can cast Chromox. That's technically something they could do. I guess there is a non-zero chance that they cast Chromox, they draw a land, and they would need a Echoing Truth off the top. So land, Echoing Truth, and they could technically cast it, and then they lose. Yep. All right, cool. So that kind of wasn't a very good match. I think I'm going to do all 5 games with this just to be sure, because this doesn't really count. Good deck. Sorry, unrealistic. We'll be back for the next one. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are on the play. My opponent has a cool name, the Combusting Pig. This hand is pretty marginal. If there is a reanimation spell in the top 4 cards, we're good. If not, we're not good. I'm going to go ahead and keep. Like, this is what I signed up for. Faithless Looting is one of the best cards in the deck by a country mile. Shoutouts to this art. Big fan of the art. The artist is really cool, Carly. I messaged her and sent her mine to get signed and everything. Really cool. She said she's going to be doing more arts, and I am totally fine with that. I suppose we could lead. They're down to 6 cards. We could lead on this Verdant Catacombs and just land go. We get +1 card And then if there's a reanimation spell, we're more likely to combo. I guess I don't hate that. I'm a little slow. I'm down to try it out. Verdant Catacombs, Kannister plays 2. So it kind of can look like 100 different decks. We're playing the mirror match. Their Thoughtseize targeting me. Now we have to think. Do they just know that I'm the Reanimator player? Just cold cocking me right now? Why would they Dark Grit Thoughtseize? I guess we'll play this out, you know, we'll see how this goes. We'll go shields down, you know. Alright. Second Dark Grit. Boom for what? Archon? Bristlebrand. Well, I guess we'll play this out for some information now. See, you know, what version of Reanimator they are. Reanimator sideboard matches is kind of interesting. We'll go ahead and concede there. That was quick, so that's what it feels like. So on the play for the Reanimator mirror match, it's a bit ships in the night, you know. I combo, you combo, we see where we end up. We take out Exhume, that helps them with their Entombs. We bring in these 3 cards. Iona on black is game over. Fairy Macabre and Coffin Purge. Coffin Purge is 5 exile a target from graveyard spells with Entomb. So we'll try it like this. If they are playing Fairy Macabre, that'll be difficult, but we'll see how this shakes out. All right, I kept this. This is a bit of a weak keep with 3 lands, Faithless Looting. I don't mind the Unmask here. They kept 7 cards in hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and Badlands. I got some. So they're on the same plan that I'm on, which is just keep a decent hand. They got Reanimate. That helps them. Faithless Looting helps them also. Both of these are good. Reanimate's kind of dead right now. Faithless Looting, I think, is more dead. Might take that. That's tough. If I were them, what would I want in the graveyard? They kept almost the same exact hand, too. It's just instead of 2 Dark Rits, they had an Exhume and a Reanimate. So let's see. Suppose we take Reanimate, and that kind of nullifies their turn 1 graveyard shenanigans. We'll see how it works out. This is tough. Don't often get many mirror matches, and if he kept all 4 Exhumes in, that's kind of a nutty draw there. All right, so we're working with good information here. Do we? I think we bin the Gristlebrand now, right? And then if they go to Reanimate, they drew a Swamp, so they could get an Animate Dead or Reanimate. That's 8 top decks, 7 because that one's there. We should be set. I don't think that that's a bad idea. They also wouldn't necessarily be able to cast it. They would be able to cast it. Yeah, never mind. I don't know what I was thinking. I think this is good. I think this is fine. I think we're still in a bit of a position of weakness, but I don't think we're doing terrible. All right, they cast Faithless Looting. They've been 2 lands. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and attempt my reanimation spell. I don't want to just lead with Unmask because that's not very good for me. I think I'm going to Unmask, tossing out this Gristlebrand. A Reanimate is not very good right now. Yep, that's fine. Archon of Cruelty, does that help me? We'll bin their Exhume. I'm at 7 cards in hand. I don't want them to have another fatty in the graveyard, so I think I passed the turn here. I think we're in a position of strength now. We can take their Faithless and their Archon of Cruelty here. Does that help us? I think so. They would need an Entomb and Exhume effect. I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I think, right? It's tough. No, they could top deck a Faithless Looting and they would be sitting pretty. So I'll let them draw. Yeah, because they would, like, if they could Faithless, then they would bin these two and get a reanimation spell. They'd be in the money. So I think this is fine for now. Now I will go ahead and take Archon of Cruelty and Faithless Looting. Yep, okay, so whew, that was tough. All right, now on the draw. On the draw, we saw 0 Land of the Void from them. Sometimes Reanimator players play that. Sometimes they don't. We're going to go out the 3 Archon of Cruelties. We're going to go in the 3 extra Chancellors. Still out the Exhumes. We still have our Fairy Macabre and our Coffin Purge here. So we're still interacting with the graveyard. We still have a lot of disruption. I think this is a good one. This is for all of the marbles. All of the marbles are on the table here. This is a banger. Oh god, this is such a banger. On the draw, this is like totally keepable. Any other time. So, Jesus Christ, this is this is the ultimate, like, what kind of chaos do you want to be? If we draw a land, we Dark Writ, Entomb, Animate Dead, we're set. We have the Chancellor Bubble. Jesus Christ, this is such a banger. This is for all the marbles too. The greedy in me wants to keep it, but I won't. Let's see. They begin the game with 7 cards in hand. Yeah. If they have a Lotus Petal, they're set. I don't mind this. So Chancellor effect. What do we have? 4 cards? Gotta have the Chancellor effect in hand. Faithless, Reanimate. Keep those, bin these. Keeping the Entomb around for that Coffin Purge is good. Going down to 4 cards suck. We're down to 5, so we only got to get rid of 2 cards. Probably this land and Unmask, maybe? I don't think that's terrible. Unmask, because that sets us behind quite a few cards, and we don't have cards to spare right now. They pop my Chancellor Seal with a Grief. They are down to... They're Unmask targeting me. Getting rid of my Entomb. And then they're probably going to reanimate their Grief, so that's not bad. I'm not a big fan of that play in general. I especially don't like it like this. I get it. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. Drawing the Verdant and then playing it isn't too good on my end, but what I got to do right now. We're now 1 land away from flashing back Faithless. All right, so they have 2 cards in hand. I imagine they're both like a Gristlebrand kind of creature or something. We have 2 reanimates. We drew a Dark Writ, so I'm going to go ahead and flash back Faithless Looting here. I'm going to unmask targeting them just in case they have like an Archon of Cruelty in hand. Oh, that'd be so sick. So they had a Fairy Macabre, and they took my Dark Writ and Chancellor. Entomb, no! All right, Fairy Macabre is a 2/2. Oh my god. And this says Menace, and they're at 15, and I'm at 13. Oh god, so bad. All right, I'm gonna not cast my Reanimate just in case we get an Entomb, which there's, you know, a chance of that happening. But and this is a tight game. This is what Reanimator matchups are always like. All right, they swing in. Faithless. So we fired off that Faithless, immediately are punished by drawing a Faithless and an Exhume. So we're going to get in for 3. We're going to go down to 7. Reanimate is kind of off the table now. And Exhume is good. We don't have many reanimation spells left. I think Exhume is our best odds of winning. And we need to draw a Entomb effect. And we have 3 of them left. Jesus Christ. Drawing a Reanimate is tough. We still have 2 turns, still 2-turn clock. Oh, they just got there. Yeah, there's nothing we can do against that. GG's opponent, sometimes that's how it be. Not much. I don't think I could have done much different there. Yeah, I don't think there's much I could have done differently there. If you see something, make sure to leave me a message. That's usually how these games go. You know, you kind of just throw up your hand on turn 1 and see kind of what sticks, and he had some really good draws there. Yeah, we'll be back for the next one. All right, we're gonna keep this. We're on a mull to 6. We're on the play. Probably getting rid of Swamp. So I can go turn 1 Chancellor, and as I said in the beginning of the video, it's not a very good play. It's not a terrible play, it's just not bad. I can do that if I get rid of the Swamp, keep the Petal, Dark Red Animate dead. I don't hate that. My opponent kept 7. There is a non-zero chance of just getting a banger creature off the top. I do like that. Come on, Archon of Cruelty. Get rid of a Dark Writ. This isn't terrible. We'll see how this shakes out. It's not terrible because we have Faithless Looting in the graveyard. We have a Dark Writ, so we're able to cast back, flashback Faithless. We got room to maneuver here. And they got a double Chancellor bubble, and they just conceded. All right, so I don't know what that means. Hopefully it's a good sign of things to come. I'm not too familiar how to blind sideboard with this deck. I'm sure Kannister can speak on it a little bit, but if they blind concede to a Chancellor or the NX on the draw, that can't be good. I imagine this is what Prismatic Ending is for, so let me think this through a little bit. All right, so this is what we're gonna roll with. I'm gonna bring in the Prismatic Endings just because I don't know what's up. I kind of would like a Shenanigans in this situation. I really just dig Shenanigans in general. I'm going to take out 2 Archons and 2 Thoughtseizes, mostly because I don't know what we're playing against and that costs mana. Archons are not bad. We have 8 reanimation targets. There's a chance that swapping out this Archon or this Chancellor of the NX for an Archon is a good idea. But since I scooped to it, I'm just going to keep it just in case. I don't quite know what's going on. We'll try it like this, and I think this is an okay blind setup. We'll see how it works out. I keep saying this, but wanted to test out how this deck was, and I just keep getting set up with these bangers. I don't know what's going on. Keep with the Fury. There's no late line of the Void. Okay. Ooh, Painter. Okay. Everything is blue. All right, so Painter frequently does run Surgical Extraction. They also are setting everything up for Pyroblast. The Prismatic End it next turn. That's okay. I could do it. Never mind. Just gonna Faithless here and see what we come up with. Are they okay? Okay, this is sweet. This is sweet. This is everything I want. We're gonna get rid of Swamp, and I think Prismatic Ending. And next turn I'm gonna Dark Rid. Yeah, I'm gonna go off. I might keep the Prismatic Ending and get rid of this Reanimate. No, I need to Reanimate. Yeah, Prismatic Ending. See you later. And then next turn, what do we do? Everything is blue, and I get Iona naming blue. I just win, right? I don't have Iona. Never mind. But if I did, if I had the giant brain play, that's fine. I don't think I even want to cast that. I think I just want to go Dark Writ. No. Hold on. So they can't cast Pyroblast. That's good. Okay. So Dark Writ. Tomb. I think Archon of Cruelty will just end the game. Bristlebrand's also really good. I like Archon of Cruelty though. I also like Bristlebrand though. I like Bristlebrand. Now I cast Exhume. And if they surgical, I will entomb in response. Or after the surgical resolves, I should say. Oh. Okay. You have a second one, I guess? Test out my Petal. They have 3 cards in hand. I got to see what they got. We're going to unmask and we're going to pitch Exhume. Emery and a redundant Painter Servant. Emery real good. So they wanted the Urza Saga online. Otherwise, they could have cast Emery. And I think next turn, barring something crazy, we get there. All right, they doubled up on the Pain of Servants, so they must know that Archon is coming in soon. Get in for 7. Things to consider would be Ensnaring Bridge. Don't want that to happen. I don't have... I can get... There's Emissary, and I can name Artifact. That would give me protection from Grindstone. I think that's what they're going to. So now we have Ensnaring Bridge locked up with this prismatic ending. I think we're good. Yeah, because they, from the looks of it, they wanted to get the Grindstone here with the Urza Saga. I'm glad I talked this out. If I had just got Archon of Cruelty, I would have lost good like. All right. Guess that was a pretty okay showing. Go ahead and come back for the next one. Welcome back. If you made it this far, you are a champion and a gentleman. We have a really good hand here. We're on the draw. We have the option of unmasking ourselves, exhuming Gristlebrand if we're playing against a fair deck, or something that can't interact with it. We also have the option of just going to discard and then unmasking and exhuming. So this is a good keep. Tundra, never a good sign. Island Ponder, go. Okay. Let's see. Off of the Ponder, the opponent chose to shuffle. Anime Dead, real good. Now we have to decide if we're going to go to discard or not. We could... yep, we're going to go to discard. We're going to discard because we got 2 reanimation effects that don't cost life. If we draw a black card for Unmasked, we are sitting nice. We're here to give our opponent a run for their money for the 4-1. Time to feed the chitlins with this one. All right, that couldn't have gotten better. We got the card for our Unmask. I'm gonna pitch this Anime Dead. Marginally playing around prismatic ending, mostly not. Like, that's really not going to come up. All right, our opponent forces pitching a Baleful Strix. Okay, if they, let's see, we're playing around days now since they let that resolve. Ooh, we got there, folks. Oh, that's not good. I'm going to go ahead and draw 7 more. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and tomb since I got the 1 mana floating for I think Archon of Cruelty here. Start getting ahead like that. They may stifle this, is what I'm kind of concerned about. I'm not positive though. Oh, they did stifle. Welcome to Legacy a couple years ago. Let's see. Okay, fine. They are F6. We have 8 cards in hand. We're going to go down to discard. That stifle really, I mean, it saved them from getting a bunch of cards, but I mean, for Force of Will, that may have been better, but I'm going to go ahead and Faithless Loot here. Look for a black card. Maybe we can unmask them. This seems like Doomsday. We were able to get a Grief. I'm going to Grief with Tomb here. Ethereal Forager, Swords and Swords. All right. So with Forager, oh man. To think about this. Forager can get a whole bunch of cantrips. I kind of don't mind taking the swords again. Shoutouts to the earlier match we played against UW Stoneblade where they had Sword, Swords, Force. Now it's Sword, Swords, Ethereal Forager. It's kind of funny. Well, they can only cast 1 Swords Plowshares. They can't cast Ethereal Forager. I'm gonna take a swords here. I'm gonna let that resolve, and I'm gonna pass. If they draw Force of Will, we're kind of hurt. You know, they'll swords and then they'll force. Yeah, that's fine. Right, so they drew spell. We know that. Banger. I think I'll just fire this off. I have 2 cards in hand. I'm not too scared. Cowards don't win games. They managed to get a force. That's fine. Now, I think we're fine as long as they don't top deck an Ethereal Forger again. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and cast our spell. They'll get rid of their stuff. Oh, see? Marginal. Get rid of that. Can I get the second one? We're loaded up with a second reanimate. I think we got this one in the bag. All right, they draw go. I'm going to go ahead and swing it with Archon. Oh, they stifled. Okay, that's cute. This is tough. This is super tough. They're just getting slaughtered here. Dang. All right. So I'm not sure what we played there. It seems like blue, white, black, kind of, I don't know, fair-ish. We'll see. I don't know what their primary game plan is. They probably play something like a True Name Nemesis, I would assume, with Ethereal Forger. Probably some sort of Stoneblade, maybe. Okay. Going into game 2 on the draw, I'm going to bring in 3 Prismatic Ending, just in case they play some sort of artifact or enchantment based or containment priest sort of pieces. We have Iona for white for Swords to Plowshares, taking out Chancellor and Archon and 2 Thoughtseize because I don't know what they're playing, so Thoughtseize may not be the best. We'll run it like that. My opponent mulligans down. I am going to keep this. This looks like a really great hand. So my opponent's fetch land into Ponder, chose not to shuffle. That's kind of bad for us. I'm going to go ahead and run out this Faithless Looting. Could also unmask Pitching Dark Writ. I don't hate that. Maybe I'll start there. I'll play around Daze. So we successfully played around Daze, which they don't have. They have Force of Negation, Force of Will, Brainstorm, and Snapcaster. I like taking Force of Negation just in case they want to hit my Faithless Looting here, which is fine if they do. We'll get there eventually if we have 2 lands. So if they do, Force Pitching Snapcaster. Yep. So they kind of walked into what we wanted them to do. That's totally great. It is important to note that they did keep off of their Ponder, but I imagine that was probably just for a second Force of Will effect. It's got to be terrifying playing against Reanimator. Like, I wouldn't want that. I usually don't like to. And if I'm ever playing another deck and I'm playing against Reanimator, I get pretty upset. Their Brainstorm kind of locked right now. They did have a fetch and they opted to Wasteland, which is fine. We'll get there eventually. Yeah, as I was saying, I never like playing against Reanimator when I'm playing another deck. It's awful. It feels bad. It's such a good deck. It's visceral. Playing against Reanimator makes you feel things, you know? And not many decks do that. All right, so they have 2 mystery cards in hand. We have this Unmask, which if I get like an Archon or a Grizzlebrand in hand, I'm going to be sitting up real good. Prismatic is a little dead. We don't have a Scrubland or a Lotus Petal cast it, but we're both in top deck mode right now. My opponent didn't know his 3rd card down and still opted to fetch. That's interesting. I don't see any need to really make a move on anything right now. We're going to draw Go War. This Scrubland is great. I'm not going to play it out, though. I don't want to walk it into a Wasteland. I have this Archon of Cruelty, which is cool. It's cool. It's a good card. Good card. Next turn, I can go to discard again. We can do that, and then I can unmask targeting them, and we can go off. I don't hate that. What does that play into? They get an additional card. They're down a force of will, force of negation. Presumably have maybe 4 more hard counter spells. I'm fine with this for now. Let's see what happens. So they have 5 spells in hand. They draw go again. Ooh, I like that. Okay, now we're cooking with Crisco. I like everything about this. Should we discard Griselbrand or Archon of Cruelty? I think they're more set up to hate out Griselbrand. They're more set up to hate out Griselbrand, like with Caracas or what have you. I would rather discard it and get going on Archon of Cruelty follow-up. So I'm going to bin this. And maybe I'll play around more cards by doing that. All right, so they go Ethereal Forger, which leads me to believe that they do have some amount of like surgical in their deck. We should be okay for now. Animate Dead sucks. I don't like to draw that. I'm gonna go ahead and unmask. We'll see what we're playing into. Unfortunately, we have had a set of bad draws here if they have surgical. All right, they force pitching Daze. I'll play that out and I'll go ahead and animate Dead, targeting it. They surgical, which we kind of figured they would be doing. Now, if we get a faithless looting flashback, like if we draw a fetch land, we'll be set. If they have a wasteland in hand, then they kind of strategically maneuvered around everything. So we'll see how this works out. All right. Well, I'm not quite sure there's much we can do about this Mystic targeting that surgical. Think that is the nail in our coffin here for game 3. Let's see. They have Ethereal Forger online too. They got some card advantage coming in. He returns Force of Negation. Yeah, that's a good nail in the coffin there. All right, we'll go ahead and concede this game. There's no point in playing anymore. All right. On the play for game 3, I'm going to go ahead and leave in Iona. I'm going to bring in 3 Chancellors. This is precisely what the card is for. Take out 3 Archon of Cruelties. We're back to 3 Thoughtseizes and 5 free effects. I got 1 Thoughtseize still in the sideboard. So yeah, this is for the 4-1. Okay, so we don't have second land for our Anime Dead Exhumes. We do have a Thoughtseize and we have a Chancellor, so we can get rid of presumably 2 cards in their hand. I'm going to toss this back, and I'll tell you why. It's because if we don't draw a land, we are just sitting ducks. And I want to go ahead and win as soon as possible. Now see, this is what's up. Keep this. You want to put that at the bottom. Where do I put Unmask? Oh, I like that. Now this is a traditional Reanimator hand too. I'm going to go ahead and Thoughtseize and see what they're cooking with off of a basic. I think my opponent is a little upset because we've been here for about 2 minutes. So I'm not sure yet. Maybe he's just taking a break. All right. They're going to force pitching Dress Down, Chancellor trigger. I'm sure they knew about that already. I guess they didn't. Reanimating Hull Breacher is just the sickness, man. You see that shit? So I could take Hull Breacher, I could just reanimate it straight up right now. That doesn't do a lot for me though. They're a little ways away from it. Take a Ponder, they'll bust a Ponder bubble. They'll bust the bubble with Ponder if they get another force. This is tough. Magic is such a hard game. Ponder might be good. I think Hull Breacher is probably the card to take though. I think Hull Breacher is the card to take just in case something goes wrong long term. They chose not to shuffle, so they kept off Ponder. I think I get Archon or Cruelty here. Archon or Cruelty is a strong clock. And I think they may have kept a land on top. Maybe I get Iona naming blue. Maybe I get Iona naming white. I get Gristlebrand. Archon of Cruelty is such a banger, though. It loses to more things. I'll get Gristlebrand. I love this card. All right, so they found a surgical off the top. That's tough. It's a tough one. Now we are sitting in the water. This is for all the marbles. This is for the 4-1, so we'll have to see how this pans out. That's a backbreaker right there. That's a tough one. You hate to see it as a Reanimator player. That does mean that they stacked their deck. They had surgical on top. They had another spell on top. All right, so they did have a land. Okay, so they did have a land, and they have a Ethereal Forager with a surgical extraction underneath it. Like, bad news bears. We have to get something mostly for Hull Breacher. We're pretty dead in the water right now, unfortunately. I am willing to concede again that I made a mistake somewhere back there. Maybe them having surgical and force of will, even though they ran force of will out into a Chancellor bubble, they had a lot of answers. I probably could have navigated this a little better. Yep. That's the game. There's no possible way for us to win. 3-2, knocked down. I'm going to take a second, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to think about my reflection on this deck, and then I'll be able to give a more accurate picture of my thoughts about it after thinking about it for a second. So I will be right back. Thank you for sticking around. Welcome back, everyone. It is the next day. Some time has passed. You know this because I am now wearing glasses. So I had some time to think about it, and I actually don't think this deck is as heretical as it may seem. And just going over, I've only played 5 games with it, but we lost 2 games. One of the games was the Reanimator mirror match, and I don't feel like I necessarily misplayed too much in that one. I may have lost that game for sure. That often comes down to a coin toss for me. We lost against the white, blue, black Ethereal Forager deck. I don't know. They kind of just had all the answers, and there was not much I could do about that. I'm willing to concede that I may have misplayed in that one too. And the games we did win, we won pretty handily. Blue-Red Delver went down pretty easy. Blue-Red Urza's Rag deck or something. Mono-Red Storm, always an easy matchup. Sorry, just is. And Blue-Red Painter variant, pretty easy too. Throughout the league, we never really saw Chancellor of the Annex come up, which is pretty normal for Reanimator. The one game we did Reanimated on turn 1, our opponent instant scooped. We never really saw a need for as many Archon spells as there are. 4 seems like a bit. There were a few times where we got surgicaled, and having the 4 was nice. It didn't come up. I think we lost all the games we got surgicaled on, which I think just the last match. 4 Thoughtseize perform well. Big fan of Thoughtseize. When I run Reanimator on my own, I run 3 Thoughtseize, 4 Unmask, and 1 Grief. So this just one up from what I would normally run. I feel totally fine with that. We didn't see 3 Badlands necessity at all, but since we're not running a secondary splash color, 3 Badlands was just fine. 1 Scrub. I think there was only one time maybe where I purposefully fetched up a Scrub. It didn't really come up this time. 4 Serenities. I normally only play 3 of in the most in my sideboard game plan, but I really like this. If you run 4 Serenity, in your matches, that's totally fine. Really, really good option. We did see 3 Chancellor. I did sideboard it in one combo matchup, the Reanimator mirror match. I didn't do it in Mono Red Storm. I don't think that's correct. We're just a faster, more consistent deck, and I don't think that there was a way for me to win that game since they had exiled their cards off the top of their library, and they had the exact right cards in order to win on that turn. Stairs Emissary, we didn't see this come up. Still a banger. Iona, this did come up one time. Still a banger if you want to run it. I personally don't run it, but if you wanted to, you know, totally worth it. Prismatic Ending. I didn't get the Prismatic End. Shit. What the fuck? Sure would have liked to. Didn't get a chance to. That's kind of why this is always on the fence, is most of the time people side it in and then they just don't get to use it. So it feels like a dead card, I think. Massacre didn't come up once. Not really even sure where it would come up. Just against Containment Priest, right? That's the only thing I can think of. Fairy Macabre. When Reanimator plays Fairy Macabre in the sideboard, it always catches everybody by surprise. Generally speaking, we shouldn't be running it. But this is kind of a gotcha card. So it did get our Reanimator opponent one time. And Coffin Purge, always a banger. So generally speaking, if you wanted to run this, I think it's a good idea. I'm on board if you wanted to. I think Reanimator is really powerful. And as long as you have the core black-red setup, you should be fine. I don't think you really need the 4 Chancellors. If you wanted to go all Archon, you know, power to you, dude. Archon's a great card. It slaps. It slaps hard. It slaps them right in the face. Louis Belcher style. Everything else, you know, it's just one of the most powerful decks in Legacy. It probably will be for a long, long time. Has been for a long time already. I think we're going on 10 years since Reanimator kind of first came around. So yeah, that was my Kannister League. If you made it this far, Jesus Christ, man, that's a long time. Thank you very much. Happy to have you. Just hit 100 subscribers. Maybe you can be 101. I don't know. Thanks for tuning in. I'll have some more videos up a little bit later. Okay, take it easy. Bye.